November 23, 2025. In the war-torn Andrivka area, a Russian soldier's movement was betrayed. The unblinking eye of a drone, belonging to the 414th UAV Assault Aviation Brigade, spotted him. He reacted instinctively, unleashing a barrage of gunfire, desperate to bring the mechanical predator crashing down. But his ammunition dwindled, forcing him to seek refuge. A futile attempt to disappear into a corner. Exposed and defenseless, he became an immediate target. The FPV drone, a harbinger of swift destruction, zeroed in. The operator, a faceless presence in a distant command center, sought the perfect angle of attack, a deadly calculus of trajectory and impact. The Russian soldier, in a final act of defiance, squeezed off a few more rounds, but the drone remained stubbornly aloft. In a desperate, almost pathetic, attempt at self-preservation, he even tried to shield himself with his feet, a flimsy barrier against the inevitable. It was no use. Stay tuned for more updates and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue following the news from Frontline. On that same day, November 23, 2025, the Ukrainian Sign-Num Battalion, cloaked in stealth, infiltrated a forest in the Lyman region. Their silent vanguard, FPV drones, leading the way to a Russian military encampment. The array of military hardware confirmed their suspicions. A significant contingent of Russian soldiers was stationed there. The drones, like tireless sentinels, meticulously scanned the area, pinpointing the concentration of enemy troops. The attack was swift and decisive. Airstrikes rained down, targeting the Russian positions with brutal efficiency, crippling the military vehicles that lay scattered. Even the soldiers' motorcycles, their symbols of mobility, were reduced to twisted metal, rendering the Russian position utterly inoperable. While the Russian military often relies on motorcycles on the front lines for faster movement and coordination, these vehicles are vulnerable to drone attacks. Elsewhere, in the embattled Zaporizhia region, on November 23, 2025, a lone Russian soldier became the hunted. A Ukrainian reconnaissance drone, an unseen observer, spotted him moving through the rubble, far from any defensive line, utterly unaware of his impending doom. For a time, the drone tracked him, a silent predator stalking its prey. Then, the Ukrainian operators unleashed the FPV attack. By the time the Russian soldier registered the drone's approach, it was too late to react. In the Sumy area, still on November 23, 2025, Ukrainian forces achieved yet another frontline victory. A series of FPV attacks, orchestrated with precision and ruthlessness, decimated Russian positions. The footage, stark and unforgiving, showed the drones maneuvering at impossibly low altitudes before delivering pinpoint strikes on enemy vehicles and soldiers, disrupting supply lines and frontline operations. These attacks highlighted the growing effectiveness of Ukraine's UAV warfare strategy, in which small, agile platforms are used to inflict massive damage while minimizing risk to the operator. Each successful engagement not only weakens the aggressor's logistics and manpower, but also reinforces the chilling message: no movement in contested areas goes unchallenged. November 23, 2025, a lone Russian soldier, exposed in open terrain, was marked for death. An FPV drone from the 3rd Assault Brigade locked onto him. He saw it coming, a black speck against the sky, and desperately tried to evade, but there was nowhere to hide, no cover to offer sanctuary. In a last-ditch effort, he fired at the drone, hoping to shatter its deadly purpose, but his bullets fell short. The FPV drone closed the distance with terrifying speed and slammed into the soldier, leaving him wounded and unable to flee. This incident starkly illustrates how Russian troops have become prime targets for Ukrainian FPV drones. Moving in pairs or small groups, scouting or attempting to approach new positions, they were suddenly confronted with swift and accurate drone attacks. Many soldiers lacked sufficient ammunition or effective weaponry, a glaring deficiency exposed in these brutal skirmishes. Some attempted to react, to fight back against the unseen enemy, while others were left paralyzed, barely able to register the approaching threat. Russian armored vehicles, once symbols of invincibility, were now stopped dead in their tracks by Ukrainian drone systems. Infantry fighting vehicles, advancing towards the first Ukrainian positions, were ambushed by swarms of FPV drones. Moments later, the armored behemoths erupted in flames, pyres marking their demise. In the aftermath of the airstrikes, Russian soldiers scattered, desperate to escape the relentless aerial assault. While FPV drones continued to track their movements, a rogue Russian fiber-optic FPV drone, its cable severed, veered off course and flew erratically toward a Ukrainian military vehicle in the direction of Sami. The drone, now a lost projectile, failed to reach its intended target and crashed harmlessly before completing its strike. 5 days prior, on November 18, 2025, in the Donetsk area, a lone Russian soldier, newly deployed to the front lines, was spotted by the Magha Birds Brigade and targeted by an FPV drone. He had strayed far from his designated position, advancing recklessly towards the Ukrainian lines. An FPV drone was immediately dispatched, closing in with lethal intent. At the last possible moment, the soldier opened fire on the drone, but his desperate volley was in vain. The drone hit him. A group of Russian soldiers, engaged in reconnaissance across open terrain, was tracked by a Ukrainian FPV drone. A drone from the UAS unit of the 93rd Mechanized Brigade was swiftly deployed to intercept. Exposed in the open air, the soldiers had no cover, no escape route. Notably, they were completely unarmed throughout the entire encounter. Again, on November 23, 2025, a lone Russian soldier in open terrain was tracked by an FPV drone from the 3rd Assault Brigade. As the drone approached, the soldier tried to evade it but had no cover. He fired at the drone in a last-ditch effort to stop it, but was unsuccessful. The FPV drone approached quickly and hit the soldier, leaving him unable to escape. This incident illustrates how Russian troops have become targets for Ukrainian FPV drones. Moving in pairs or small groups to scout or approach new positions, they were suddenly faced with fast and accurate drone attacks. Many soldiers lacked ammunition or weapons, a factor that became apparent in these skirmishes. Some tried to respond, while others remained largely unable to react to the approaching threats. In the Kyiv area, the occupying forces had established a fortified settlement, complete with bunkers, shelters, and a substantial stockpile of fuel and lubricants, seemingly preparing for prolonged occupation. However, the Carter unit's drones executed a precision strike on this seemingly impregnable position. They flew over the area, meticulously assessing every detail, before unleashing a coordinated barrage of airstrikes. The attacks originated from multiple directions, simultaneously targeting bunkers, shelters, and equipment. As a result, all designated targets were neutralized, along with the personnel stationed there. A Ukrainian reconnaissance drone from the Birds of Major unit spotted the movement of a Russian soldier along a forest on the eastern front. A Ukrainian reconnaissance drone from the Magha Birds unit spotted the movement of a Russian soldier along a forest on the eastern front. The area was distant from the heat of battle, likely fostering a sense of security in the soldier's mind. Yet, for the Ukrainian operators, this isolation presented an ideal opportunity to monitor his movements undisturbed. Given the considerable distance, the FPV attack drone faced a lengthy journey to reach its target. Throughout this extended flight, the reconnaissance drone maintained unwavering visual surveillance, ensuring the soldier had no chance of escape. He proceeded with caution, as if searching for a hidden refuge or a place to rest his weary bones. After a prolonged trek, exhaustion seemed to claim him, and he finally halted at a location he believed offered safety. Unaware of the ever-watchful eyes in the sky, he stood no chance of concealing himself. At that precise moment, the attack drone descended. With calculated precision, the FPV drone approached and executed its mission. The strike was definitive, leaving no doubt as to its outcome. We hope you subscribe to the channel and leave a like. This helps YouTube recommend our videos and motivates us to continue creating powerful content with the same intensity. Thank you. In another instance, an FPV drone located a lone Russian soldier attempting to take cover behind a tree. The pilot demonstrated exceptional skill during the ensuing attack. On another mission, a drone zeroed in on a fuel tanker attached to a Russian truck that was recklessly approaching a residential neighborhood. Soon after, another FPV drone tracked a Russian soldier who had abandoned his vehicle. A Ukrainian Su-27 fighter jet executed a high-altitude precision strike using a GBU-62 JDAM guided bomb against a Russian military unit in the north, believed to be situated near Pokros. This operation is part of the Ukrainians' ongoing efforts to disrupt enemy concentrations and prevent coordinated offensives. The GBU-62, a GPS-guided bomb derived from the 82 Malawian Kwacha's, was delivered with pinpoint accuracy, minimizing collateral damage while maximizing impact. The attack underscored Ukraine's growing air force capabilities and its utilization of Western-supplied strategic precision weaponry. In the fiercely contested terrain of the Lyman region, a unit of the Ukrainian 3rd Assault Brigade prepared to breach a Russian bunker. The footage, captured by a helmet-mounted GoPro camera, offered an unvarnished and raw depiction of the brutal realities of close-quarters combat. The approach was silent. Darkness blanketed the trenches as Ukrainian soldiers moved with calculated precision. Each step was deliberate, each breath measured. The bunker loomed ahead, an earthen fortification dug into the landscape, fortified yet vulnerable. Suddenly, the silence shattered. A flashbang detonated at the entrance. The team surged forward. Inside, chaos erupted. A Russian soldier opened fire, but was swiftly neutralized. The cramped space amplified every sound: gunfire, shouted orders, boots scuffling on the ground. In a matter of seconds, the bunker was cleared. Amid the rubble and disarray, a lone Russian soldier surrendered, arms raised, weapon discarded. He was taken as a prisoner of war. Ukrainian troops secured him, checked for traps, and began his extraction. His face, captured on camera, reflected fear, disbelief, and the heavy weight of defeat. Outside, the team regrouped. Mission accomplished. 1 enemy killed, 1 captured. No Ukrainian casualties. East of the village of Vazvagina, Donetsk region, 2 Russian soldiers on motorbikes were advancing toward Ukrainian positions. A Ukrainian drone followed them, preparing to engage. But before the drone could act, the soldiers inadvertently triggered a mine.